That's it for me. I don't need over 22 minutes. Thank you.
Justine, do you want to sit down with okay.
Thank you for the question. This spring I advocated for a medical research project, AMRIC. Maybe some of you are familiar with it, and I will continue to do so. With the boomer demographic, this is the future. Sudbury could and should become the research hub for northeastern Ontario, creating good-paying jobs for our well-educated children. Maybe paving the way for a school of pharmacology. And certainly, we should be looking as well as native medicinal, native medicine. I will continue to support physician recruitment as well, specializing in the hospital departments. I will continue advocating for a motorsport events center, economic driver capable of generating millions in the community through the ripple effect and post-secondary education opportunities. Of course, I will support the Ring of Fire initiatives, any and all, to bring the smelter to Cape Real to Sudbury. And as well, from my flyer, you've read that I would advocate for an incentive grant for the development of solar greenhouses, developing and extending our growing seasons in the market. Thank you.
So the question is that how do we attract business and development to the city of Greater Sudbury? I have a few ideas. Of course, we need to give them some incentives. First would be to cut red tape, reduce development charges, building fee, and for new businesses, there should definitely be some tax incentives so a new business can grow and create more jobs. We need jobs. Although it's not the job of city to create jobs directly, but to create a stress-free and easy atmosphere for those employers who can create jobs. So we're clear to see that current job providers are in education, health, mining, and mining services sector. So these are the areas we need to focus. Deregulating store hours is one of the referendum questions, but it will definitely create a good impact and attract some more businesses from out of Sudbury. Chamber of Commerce needs to play an important role. They need to help us grow. They need to connect us with the rest of the province, the rest of the country, or maybe the rest of the world. They need to market us. Business improvement areas, they play a very important role. New business would feel a lot relaxed and at ease by being a part of such association. So downtownsudbury.com, which is BIA for downtown Sudbury, has played a very good job in rebranding our downtown. Public-private partnership and involving the province and feds, we can definitely grow. And finally, by having a convention center, recreational and sports facility, we can attract more small to medium businesses to come and be part of our vibrant community.
It's amazing. I haven't had to cut anybody off yet tonight. Damn it. Question number 2, and we start with Sean this time. Based on the services that are currently provided, what are the strategies you would implement to increase the value of our tax dollar? And I'll repeat the question one more time for the audience. So based on the services that are currently provided, what are the strategies you would implement to increase the value of our tax dollar?
Well, what I'd like to do is, I'd like to stop the wasteful spending that we have. Make sure that our budget that's in place, that we actually follow the budget. We're not overextending our spending on that. May look to look as a hiring freeze in the city. So the employees that we have right now, let's not bring in more employees and spend more money on more employees. We have great employees in the city right now. We can actually utilize them, I'm sure, much better than what we've been doing. I'd also like to bring in private companies, as aforementioned in my last question, bring in private companies to run certain buildings and businesses that are that the city run right now, such as, again, sports complex. You can look at Cambrian Arena, for example, how that arena has been run down. It's very old. It had renovations 2 years ago, and it was kind of a coin toss if the city was actually going to repair it or just close that one down too. We've had a hard time with Countryside Arena to spend the money on that. Costs are getting very hard and expensive to do things like that. I don't understand why we can't just privately have companies come in privately, spend the money, they can do the work for those buildings, and we don't have to spend any tax dollars, so that money is actually being saved for us. They run the buildings. Our commercial taxes go up because they have to pay the taxes for that as well. And then with that, obviously, we can start concerning ourselves more with roads, policing, snow plowing, just to name a few. Thank you.
I've often said that we are trying to be too many things to everyone. Recently, we did a service review, the summer programs, the fitness centers, the trailers, the trailer parks, etc. We adjusted summer programs and equalized trailer park rates paid throughout the city, increasing revenue and leveling the playing field. We'll see the outcome at the end of this year in terms of impact on attendance, vacancies with the next budget, at which time they will be reevaluated. As an example given the trailer parks and the fitness centers, I have said perhaps this could be better operated in the not-for-profit sector. Actually, there is a pilot project ongoing now in Capriol, as well as Lively. With this in mind, the report is due back next year. So we will see how well they did and if that is the way to go. Roads, of course, demanding better quality, better inspections, tighter controls in place. Responsible development, more frequent inspections, identifying and addressing deficiencies, quicker remediation, especially when it negatively impacts neighborhoods. Doing it right the first time. I presented this motion in September. The report is to follow. Streamlining, service duplication, merging of functions. Better communication between staff and residents, whether it's a building permit, registering for a program, a 311 query. Better tracking and follow-up from all levels of the corporation. Avoiding a lot of undue frustration. And of course, tighter stormwater restrictions, doing it right the first time. Thank you.
Okay, to start with, we need to reevaluate ourselves, our expenses, our tendering, procurement, and find a way to get the best bang for our bucks. By improving service standards, policies, and procedures of all departments, and by cutting duplication and waste, and working smarter, will raise dollar value. We also need to document and define our procedures and time required to complete those. Transparency and accountability will also raise value for our tax dollars. Expensive studies by consultants should not be allowed. People feel discouraged when they see their tax dollar being wasted. Contract negotiation regarding infrastructure and road repairs by adding a 5-year of warranty and night shifts so that public's travel time is not wasted will also work positively. Thank you.
Thank you again. So to increase the value of the tax dollar, I would first of all, now this ties into my poverty platform, I would help out, first of all create affordable housing by, for example, introducing a motion that would be called what I would call a use it or lose it bylaw, which more or less says that if there's a suitable enough building that is currently not being used, it would be converted into affordable housing to the current currently the homeless people that are in our city. This would, in my opinion, create a twofold boom for the city. It would first of all it would put homeless people in housing, which, let's be honest, they are not out there through their own choice. They would much rather be in housing, particularly during the sweltering heat of the cold winter months. And in turn, this would also create jobs for the construction of such housing. So I would do that. That's my main priority as far as the tax dollar is concerned. And also, I would like to echo my friend Ty's sentiments about the accountability issue as well, making sure that the citizens, not just of Ward 12, but of Greater Sudbury, know exactly where their tax dollars are being spent. So I would set up a mechanism so that we can show the citizens exactly, penny for penny, dime for dime, how their tax dollars are spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Justin, for you, what is the most important issue you see in your ward? So what is the most important issue you see in your ward?
Thank you. Let me begin by saying that Ward 12 is very challenging. It is never just one. What is important to one is not necessarily important to the other. Drainage, flooding, aging infrastructure, ditches, and sewers. To help residents offset costs of backups and flooding and counteract infrastructure deficiencies, I worked with staff in 2009 following the big flood to develop the Preventative Plumbing Subsidy Grant, now available to all residents in Sudbury. If you are redoing your weepers and installing a sump pump, the reserve is there. I encourage all residents to take advantage of it. Aging infrastructure also includes ditches and culverts and roads being brought up to urban standards. Followed closely by community safety, police services, supporting local initiatives like the Louis Street Association, speeding, safe pedestrian crossings at main arteries. We have had fatalities, better lighting in vulnerable areas, benefiting the city as a whole. It doesn't stop there. We have installed stop signs. We have tried to reduce the speeding with our Speed Watch program, as well as equitable services, affordable, accessible housing. And the stress here needs to be on accessible housing. We need more accessible units, and the list is long. But I was asked for just one.
So, number one issue on my list is, of course, safer roads and infrastructure repair. Road repair has been very painful for drivers in the last little while. As we all know, LaSalle and Notre Dame was delayed for months and months, and thousands of cars and drivers were deprived of the time they could spend with their families. Like I just said a little while ago, I would propose repairs in off-peak hours or nighttime. I would also negotiate contractors to include a 5-year warranty so that when they make the roads in the first place, they make it the right way. Further, to reduce the traffic on LaSalle, I would, together with the Ward 8 councillor, push on province to complete the Meili Drive project sooner so that we have heavy traffic off of LaSalle Boulevard. And I would connect with CARB and Delron to finalize the plan and propose changes in Plan B, which included meandering, because that's something very important for that neighborhood. And something on the same lines, the snow plow in last winter, especially in smaller streets, was miserable. So there is a need to push on those. And finally, I definitely see the need for more sidewalks, bike lanes, and crosswalks and trails. Those are all few things to do with roads and safer roads and infrastructure repair. Thank you.
Mr. Robert McCarthy. Same question. What is the most important issue you see in the world?
Thank you. First of all, at the debate last night, we were asked to identify the 3 top issues for our ward, and I found that very difficult. So picking one out of many is even more difficult. But for me, I would actually like to echo.
Robert, you can say more than what everybody else has said more than what this much.
All right, fair enough. Well, for me, the top one, anyways, I would like to echo Jocelyn's sentiments for affordable, accessible, not just housing, but more accessibility within the ward and the city in and of itself. I think the success and the going forward success of the ward, it doesn't depend on just one person. It depends on all of you in the crowd tonight and everybody in the ward. That's accessible, affordable housing. I think one of the most basic rights in the world is adequate shelter and food, and that starts with all of you. So if we don't have that, we can't put any other priorities in place. Thank you.
Sean Bennett.
What's the most important issue in the ward? I actually can't identify just one in the ward, much as the same as the rest. This ward is very diverse, and it's very difficult to say that the Flour Mill, New Sudbury, and that part of Mineral Lake, this one thing will actually repair everything in the whole ward. I've made it my personal objective to actually go to every home in the city, or excuse me, in the ward. I'm actually missing I think about 1,000 houses left to go. However, from talking to people in the Flour Mill, I've noticed over there, some of their concerns are the hookers, the roads, graffiti, snowplow servicing, safety to walk at night. I had a gentleman that I know very well as I work at Laurentian University as a volunteer. This gentleman actually got mugged at night about 3 or 4 weeks back, and he told me the story. He was just walking down the road, and the lighting is just not enough in that area. He got mugged, beaten up, and was left there on the side of the road. As well, crime in general, obviously, flooding.